Yes, we are back. I'm so happy to be back with Brother Neil Frazier, aka Metamorphosis. And
Yep.
as usual, he's coming with something that is necessary in a unique way to break down things that many of us overlook. And this is a very important topic that many of us don't think about and needs to be acknowledged. And so we need you, brother. You're doing a good work. And looking at you over your paperwork and looking down with your marker and stuff, that's how I see you constantly studying and reaching out and delving in and putting it together. This time that we spend here is the easy part. You make it easy for us. You're like the chef cooking up the meal all day long and sometimes for the day before. Now, for those who celebrate Thanksgiving, I'll say it that way, even though we know what that means, Thanksgiving, and it's not for us. But when you see that woman, and sometimes a man, in the kitchen getting things ready the day before, lining things up, and up early in the morning, early before everybody else, and getting every component of that meal together for that evening so you can enjoy it, this is the way I see you. Because
Yeah.
you've been getting it ready all week,
Yeah.
researching, thinking, meditating, and this
Mhm.
is why you are a gem to us. You're valuable to us, and we couldn't even pay you enough if we tried to. But it's we don't have too many people like you, brother, who do this for the love of his people and from what comes from within the spirit, and you're following what it is that you have to do, your part, which is so crucial. The downloads you get to be motivated to do this. You
Mhm.
see, we have entertainers out here who, they shuck and jive and do their thing, but okay, yeah, now what? What's going to
Mhm.
last? What's going to teach the children? What's going to keep us on track? And so you
Mhm.
do that for us, brother. You nurture us, you feed us, inspire us, and motivate us. And like I said, you're necessary more than anybody I see out here. And I'm happy to be the plate that the meal of you can be on. You know what I mean? I'll do my role in being that plate. When they say platform, that plate, you don't have to do banners, you don't have to do the work this way because it's all for you to come in and flow. Thank you for your work, brother.
Well, thank you, Brother Lance, as always, for the kind words. And that plate you're talking about is a crystal plate. It's not a paper plate. A lot of people they set you up with a paper plate and say, "Well, be thankful that you have the food." But you do it in style, brother. You put in the years, the decades. And you're talking about being committed to our people and dealing with issues that the mainstream media would definitely not talk about. And
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
one of the things that I've appreciated about you over the years is you're consistent, you're dedicated, and like you and I were talking off camera, people don't see what it takes to produce the type of work you produce. They only see the outcome. So
Yeah.
I'm very thankful personally for that. I also want to greet everybody in the chat room, the family, everybody under the sound of our voice. And yeah, man, we have to. One of the real things that we are facing right now, and it's real, is that where they have our history should not be the only place that is stored, right?
Right.
This is why, and in the world we live in today, you can have a Dropbox. You can save all of our scholars' work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem comes in at is when we always look to their and don't get me wrong, the Smithsonian is a great institution, okay? But we can have our own black Smithsonian, okay? So at the end of the day, Smithsonian, I'm sorry, I've been talking a lot this morning. Mm.
It's okay.
Yeah, but so it's important for us to now go back and like you and I were talking off camera and look at these issues because now they're trying to act like slavery was some kind of celebration time. When we know, particularly with the subject we're going to discuss today, that American chattel slavery is the most brutal slavery ever recorded in the history of man. So, yeah, so what we're gonna do, brother, as always now with the good concepts and the banners. Your description is great, and let's get the banner going, and let's get into it. And let's have this necessary discussion today, because we're not gonna play this game like, oh, black folks was happy picking cotton, and then after this. No, we're not gonna play this game.
Well, here you go.
We're gonna
but with this banner, with the subject matter, knowing how the YouTube, especially algorithms go, I knew they would come against me. So I couldn't have made it as graphic as I needed to. And I'm not scared to put it out there, but the initial visual, it'd make AI take it down or come against this show.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of symbolism here, because these demons are very sadistic. These demons in the past and present, they can't wait to violate something so beautiful, righteous, and powerful, meaning the black woman. They hate her power,
yes,
but they lust after her in a sick way. And many of them who did so many unrighteous things to her, it was a twisted way of having power over her and having her. I can't have you this way. I'm going to use you like people use junkyards to get spare parts for what we need. See, they're so captivated with us anyway overall. Just like when they would have these picnics, and you know what that means, and they would cut off body parts of us, and just to refer to the black penis, they would cut that off and save it, and
like a pickle.
Yeah, decades later, grandchildren and great-grandchildren with fine hands and arms and penises and parts of a woman, and that's how they thought about us. So I had these two over her, and we were speaking about really coming up through the ages, but this looks a little more modern.
Yeah.
And they're chopping into her. And I wanted to show a shot looking down to capture how they can't wait to get to her, and they're holding these knives almost like they're carving up a steak that they want to eat.
Wow.
In no regard, it's like a meal.
And no anesthesia.
That they can't ever digest. You can cut us up, you can be a cannibal over us, but you can't digest our greatness. You can't digest our power. You can't digest and absorb the same way back in the Roman days they said, if you kill a lion and eat its heart, it makes you more brave. No, it doesn't work that way. So they disregard us as human beings. No type of painkiller. If it was some kind of necessary operation, but it was never necessary with them. It's only for their benefit. They didn't operate on us because they wanted to heal something with us. All the experimentation and everything was selfish for them, and to heck with us. So you see a little bit of blood right there, whatever, but it's a beautiful woman, but they're not looking at it that way. They hate her for who she is. And if they can't have her, right, the way it is in society now, when you see these men with our sisters, it's like she's a pet. You see? Like she's some tool, a receptacle, a pet. So in this sick way, okay, we can't have you. We're going to experiment on you and see. But they say that we're not like them. They say that we're animals. But if we're animals, then why are you looking for the answer for your issues physically in us if we're different? You see what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And sadistic is the perfect word.
Yeah.
Because this, like I was telling you, this affected me in a different way when I went back and looked at it again. And I took my time. I took my time with it spiritually and psychologically. like, so I could feel it.
Right.
And let me tell you something. When somebody cuts you with a knife, and I've been cut with a knife before, remember the old black switchblades?
Oh God.
Yeah. So all of us carried it. But the thing is when someone cuts you with a blade, the pain of that cut itself can put you into shock.
Right.
And imagine the screams, and we're going to talk about some of this because I did deep dive and found out a lot of things that, that they always leave out. But
Right.
at the end of the day, this is a history we must examine again. Right now, they're trying to, like everything else, because we don't talk about our history and save our history or have our own Smithsonian, then
Right.
What happens is they rewrite it like they've been doing for hundreds of years. They just go back. Well, what did they leave out? Oh, they didn't remember
Right.
this. Okay, this is actually how they talk when they sit down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, it's like editing. You go
Yes.
back and you edit every single thing. And so, were you finished, brother?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but that was just a brief thing. That was
I
just
know
a
you
brief
can,
thing.
but you made the good points. We just want to, and today I know it's going to be a little tough. Some of the pictures I struggled with whether or not I wanted to show them. But again, we have not totally healed. And one of the reasons we haven't totally healed is because we have not dealt with what is still in our genetic memory bank. Okay. And this is why a lot of the anguish you see that goes on today traces right back to this. But even to this day, Black women die at 3 times the rate of all other women during childbirth. And that's no accident. Okay. So I want to start out today, Brother Lance, with I want to show this monster that they put a bronze statue in Central Park for before they took it down in 2018. But you can put the one up with any of them standing up there, a bunch of doctors and wherever, and I'll start with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
All right.
So, well, actually, this is actually a deceased white female after they found out things from brutalizing our women. They went back and did some things on dead white carcasses. But I want to show the one where they were actually experimenting on our sisters before they moved to this aspect of what they're doing. If you could find one with their white coats on, maybe, or that house where they were coming out. Okay, let's talk about this guy. Now, I'm gonna do a little brief introduction here.
Sure.
And this will set us on pace for where we're going with this. But again, this guy, Dr. James Madison Sims, is hailed as the father of medicine, modern gynecology. Okay. And again, this shows more than anything else how we always talk about the fact that just because somebody is quoting something or saying something, it means something totally different to them than it does to you. But because you're going by the way they see it, okay, with a calcified pineal gland, then you're stuck. And so we run into this problem because we can't get past the floor because we don't truthfully identify. So white people celebrated this man. In fact, this man set up one of the first hospitals for women, institutions. His particular experimentations on Black women made him world renowned. So white people looked at him as a hero. But before we get into the real nitty gritty of this, we'll just do an introduction here. But as you see, those are 3 Black women laying in the background. And as you were saying in your description, they act as if, well, not activists, they treated our women like they were cattle. But the American Medical Association and advancement in the field of medical science has its foundation and roots in the brutal and inhumane gutting of Black women. This hidden history would shame a nation of savages. You know, I love that quote. But instead of shame, the men who committed these unimaginable acts on innocent women are celebrated as the founders of our medical system's most important surgical fields, gynecology for women today. The medical field's existence to Black enslaved women, in America, it owes its existence to Black enslaved women in America who endured unthinkable pain and suffering at the hands of white male or white ambitious males. They were also breeded and traded between wealthy white men for medical purposes. Black men were also subjected to this cruel treatment, but you know, in different areas. So the hidden history of the foundation of America's medical institution is one of the most horrific in world history. The shocking story of a Black enslaved woman used to catapult the so-called father of gynecology into hero status is a tale of brutality that is unbelievable. One such woman, and we're going to talk about her a little bit while we get into this. Lance, if you would put the picture of Anoka up there, the Black girl that they cut into.
Sure.
All right. She had over 30, and so I chose the least offensive.
There's another one?
Yeah, the ones where they stitched her up with a needle and thread after they cut her.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God.
Right there. And that was the most, that was the one I could find that we could probably swallow, the easiest one. This woman endured over 30 surgeries. Her name was Anoka Westcott, and she, by his own admission, even in his autobiography before he died, he still just looked at them as cattle, pretty much. That's how he, you know, and one of the things he mentioned a lot was the fact that when they went unconscious from the pain, he couldn't get any data. That's what he was disappointed about. They also recorded these screams. One other thing I didn't mention is that our medical fields that treat women, gynecologists, they use, and when they're teaching them, when they're becoming doctors, right? When they're in medical school, they still use Dr. Marion Sims, that's what he liked to go by. They still use his curriculums, a lot of the research that he did. And, you know, again, it was like dissecting a hog. Okay, but, oh boy, this gets really deep. So we want to go back to, now if you want to put the one up where they're in that shack, Lance, I want to start out by talking about something. And as the show mentioned, America's, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
America's medical foundation was built on the inhumane experimentation of Black women. And this is why they know black women are goddess. They know this already, because they know they could never have built what they built with our women. There were no other women that could have endured this type of pain. And now we're talking about without anesthesia, okay? So just imagine you being wide awake. They recorded their screams, their pain, how many times they went in and out of consciousness. And they built the largest medical field for women, gynecology, off of black women. And they owe our women this respect, okay? And this is what pisses me off about, even when I listen to some of these white women who obviously are ignorant to the fact of what whenever they go into a hospital, any woman of any color, they should pray to black women and say, thank you. Okay. And no amount of reparations can amend for this, but we know the Neteru are already taking care of that. So we're not worried about that. They're not going to escape this. But we're going to talk about this. So America's medical roots and origins and its advancement is owed to enslaved women. The father of gynecology, James Marion Sims, the most celebrated pioneer of women's medical treatment, are without question one of the most brutal men in world history. He experimented on black enslaved women without the use of any anesthesia, and he cut and gutted black women on tables just like animals. The thing about this too, all right, let's talk about this right here. So what happened here is he would keep them in a shack, the ones he was going to use. So he would go and pay other slave owners. He would look them over like they do at the auction block. And he would say, okay, I want this one. I want this one. So he would get like maybe 4 of them, take them back to his house. And this is in his backyard in South Carolina. Well, no, Alabama. He was born in South Carolina. But he would have them in the back. And so the women would, imagine the terror. Just imagine the terror of knowing what's getting ready to happen to you, bro.
Exactly.
And the anguish. And so I felt this when I was going through that. I was like, wow. Now, if you ever watched, and I watch these channels, all the time. That's how I learn about certain animalistic traits. But if you ever seen a animal being butchered, it's gruesome.
Yeah.
They have no regard. The animal is screaming at the top of the. Well, even with the pigs, they use a form of chloroform, so they, would cut down on the pain. But this lie that black women could endure more pain than any other women is what they use to justify this. Mm-hmm. And again, I want this to sink in. Okay, I want this to sink in. He kept these women. He examined them, sticking stuff up in them and getting them ready, because the real surgery took place in the backyard. That's the one I wanted to show you, for you to put up next, Lance.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about, because
okay, which one was that?
Yeah, so if you flow through, I'll let you know. If you flip through, a lot of them, yes, right there. Okay, thank you. So what would happen is, once he got a reputation for this, then he moved out into the backyard. So you see the people in the backyard, they just came from church on Sunday, they standing there. Then you have medical students and a few other doctors, and we're going to talk about a couple other of these sadistic doctors in a minute. So The history of America's doctors is a legacy of butchery, brutality, and inhumanity. The advancement of America's medical field and system was built on the inhumane treatment of Black women who were cut open like pigs and other animals without any type of anesthesia. So you see what's happening here is now he's already cut open her vagina. Okay, let's just keep it real.
Unbelievable.
Bro, this is without any anesthesia, and she passed out immediately. So he got frustrated because the first thing that would happen was the women would pass out from shock and pain.
Of course.
I mean, anybody would. So, you know, the thing is they acted like, okay, well, I guess this is just another animal that we cut. They screaming at the top of their lungs. You know, it's just something. But I also want to talk about this doctor who is the father of abdominal surgery. Okay. He was the doctor that pioneered abdominal surgery. So the reason why I'm going to include him in this talk before we move to the next slide is because he pretty much he used Black women for this as well. Is the father of abdominal surgery. His name is Ibrahim McDowell. He was the doctor operating on enslaved women, just like Dr. James Marion Sims. This brutal butcher was glorified and revered with a statue in the U.S. Capitol. Imagine this. And is a hero in Kentucky. See, these people can't tell me nothing, man. That's why they don't want us digging back into our past.
Mm-hmm.
They can't tell me nothing. They can't say anything about some animalistic behavior in D.C., Chicago, wherever. I mean, it's true what's going on, but this is a whole different level-ish right here. Okay? This is a whole different level where you got people, and I tried to imagine what kind of person could cut someone open with them screaming and hollering at the top of their lungs, and let alone the people standing around taking notes. Could you imagine?
Right.
This is something that I'm like, okay, now you either got to be an alien or have no soul. I don't know which one it is. And frankly, I don't care. Because he had this doctor, Dr. James Marion Sims, that cut our women's stomachs open. He has a statue in the U.S. Capitol and as a hero in Kentucky. A bronze model of him stands in the United States Capitol Visitor Center, and it is a part of the esteemed National Statuary Hall collection. However, no memorial exists to the 4 enslaved women that he operated on and developed surgical treatment for ovarian cancer. He became famous after cutting open and gutting a Black enslaved woman who died 2 days later from shock due to unimaginable pain and suffering. Okay, brother, you can go to another one of those pictures. I'll just go along from here. The white coat. Right. Yeah, or yeah. Yeah. So now this was the guy. What's his name? Ibrahim McDowell. Now this was the guy. You see how this is laying like that? Would cut her belly open with no anesthesia. And they said that the screams were so loud that people closed their windows.
Man.
The other slaves, and I heard, not Fountain Hughes, because I learned a lot from him. But there was another guy. Why didn't I write his name down? I'll get back to you and the family on that.
Mm-hmm.
But he said that the slaves would be in the quarters. They could hear the screams on their knees, praying and crying.
Wow.
Men and women. Because now those screams you could hear for a mile away. That's how severe. He cut her stomach absolutely open, and she just passed out. Okay. That is what this guy, who is celebrated in our U.S. Capitol. See, this is why I always tell our people, you can go and clap to these people. You can give them all your money. I don't care. Okay. But for you to ignore the fact that they came out to this man's yard on Sunday and came to his land and celebrated this man. Now, they could have used animals. They used rats all the time. So, this still bothers me, man. I ain't gonna lie about it. And then the thing about it is they got a statue of him in the U.S. Capitol. And this is why people don't realize they see things differently than you. Okay? This was advancement of America's medical system, and they built statues to these men as heroes. You don't get that? They didn't build any statue to the women. Well, now, some of our universities had stepped forward and created some, statues or memorial or something like that to them. But it was four in particular. Okay, brother, you can go to the next one, because I'm not finished with this guy McDowell yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew a lot about Marion Sims, but I didn't know a whole lot about him. Yeah, there you go. So now, again, what would happen is they would find out what they needed to find out from the black women. And then they would go to, and I didn't know this previously, but this also started the, what do they call the coroners and, I'm talking about the morbid people that down in the bottom of the basement of hospitals doing an autopsy and stuff like that. So they would take a corpse and they would cut in the area where they cut a black woman and found out, but this person was already deceased. Okay. So you can go to the next one, brother. So they kind of develop things in several areas of surgical medicine. Okay. Yeah, you can move down that one. That's the same thing. Once they found out what they needed from cutting open black women, then they went to these dead bodies. And this was the beginning of the autopsy field. Okay, brother, you can go to that. I just want to move through them a little bit.
I think we pretty much went through all of them.
Oh, okay, those are the ones you have? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody got the point. I don't think we need to go through anymore. Everybody got the point that there is a side of this, I like the word sadistic, that white people don't want to acknowledge. Okay. And I know that they know this history. Okay. They know this history, brother. It's in the matter of fact, when they go to the Capitol, because they used to take kids all the time from high school, they go and they say, oh, this was the great doctor who founded the one they put in the Capitol, man, McDowell. He was brutal. But he made it possible for people to have abdominal surgery now, and Bob never mentioning. So you got the kids that now, oh, they're admiring this great man, right? In their eyes, not knowing the brutality or the black women that he experimented on to do this. That's why they can't tell me nothing. Because you have always lied and told the wrong side, well, the right side to you, okay?
Yes.
But you totally ignored the pain and suffering of our women. I got one more doctor that I want to talk about, because he was a very, man, you talking about sadistic. This guy here went beyond that. So his name is Dr. Willie Aken, okay? He was the one that started experimenting with different types of surgeries on black women, invasive surgeries and other shocking surgeries were commonplace on slaves before the Civil War. According to a sweeping new survey of old medical journals, the visual of Lucinda, a slave subjected to experimental surgery for eye tumors. Yeah, that's the one I wanted to show, but I guess you didn't. You didn't download that one. But she was the first person, and so it also opened up the field of optometry as well, because let me tell you what he did. This is unbelievable, Rolance. He used electric shocks, brain surgery. He used amputations, okay. And he did this, okay, so the way that they healed or worked with Lucinda, okay, when she first had, when they were experimenting on her eye, they drilled a hole in her head over the eye. Imagine that.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy here was sadistic, Dr. Willie Aken. He was so he's one of the ones that actually pioneered brain surgery, but on black women. This is the part they leave out. Now imagine somebody drilling in your head with no anesthesia into your eye. They said she was so deformed after she had over 30 surgeries that she didn't even want to come outside. So I found a study, and the study surveys 4 surgical experiments in particular, dating from 1833 to 1858. That this sadistic doctor that I'm talking about performed on slaves. One, for example, involved severing healthy looking brain tissue from a slave with a head injury, killing him instantly. So, yeah, I guess he said, well, yeah, man. I guess he said, well, you can't work in the field and pick cotton, and your head is injured, and then we're going to use you for experimentation. Yeah, in fact, you're the perfect subject. That's how they looked at it. So there's one other study. Okay, yeah, this is when they start publishing stuff in journals, when they start doing this kind of sadistic stuff. But another removed a tumor from an unnamed young girl, a 17-year-old, a lymph node, which likely made it swell grotesquely around her head. So, you know, they even did brain surgery as well. This is a field of medicine that they, you know, they used our women to advance as well. And well, this is when they started using black men too. So finally, another study showed Dr. Aken of North Carolina reported in 1852, experimented on a slave named Lucinda, who suffered from a bone growth around her eye. That's what I was just talking about. And Aken and other doctors disfigured her by drilling holes in her head without anesthesia or chloroform, a gas that was used during that time for anesthesia, so, to remove the growth. So they deliberately didn't use, so this is a special type of torture. So while they look at it as advancement, to our people, this was torment, bro.
I know.
Total torment. And some of the things that I chose not to write down. But here's what we have to look at. We have to look at the fact that if we allow our history, this part of our history, because these people are out here always talking about slavery, this and that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. And the reason we're going to talk about it is because of what we presented today.
Right.
This is a history that can never die, man. Black women, even if we don't get reparations, should get reparations in America. I'd be totally for that. Black women and black men, but I'm saying black women absolutely should be at the front of the line to be compensated for what happened to our women when you got all these wealthy white doctors who benefited from our women.
Yeah.
They did. They benefited very, and that's another part. Huh? Go ahead, Lance.
No, and I'm just saying, it wasn't even a willing submission.
No.
You know? It's not like they volunteered for this or, went in for this and felt there was some kind of fair compensation. Well, if you experiment, well, no, nobody does that.
No.
That's what makes it even worse.
Yeah. And another thing too, I omitted this part, that so later on, when he opened these hospitals, the staff used his research to initially begin the field of gynecology. And they use all his notes in the medical schools medical institutions. He started, they would use that curriculum from what they learned from experimenting on our sisters. But when he started treating white women, they use anesthesia or chloroform. Because again, they always told this lie about black women can endure pain like no other woman. Which we know is not true. Pain is pain.
Right.
Let me cut your belly open and see how you react. So you see, brother, the thing that gets me, and I get it, but our people, we have got to face the truth about our experience here in this country during that period of time. And this is so very important because people are saying they don't want to hear the bad parts about slavery. What do you mean? History is history.
Right.
That doesn't even make sense. Explain that one to me.
I know.
So what if I said I didn't want to hear about the Romans who went and slaughtered all our people? What if I didn't want to hear about the conquistadors that they brag about all the time in movies and stuff that slaughtered over 100 million of our people here on Turtle Island? What if we chose the parts of history that we didn't want to hear? See, this is what the real issue is that because they have always controlled the narratives by which we live and teach our own children. And Malcolm's statement was, I can't think of a better statement than this, that only a fool would allow their enemy to teach their children. That's insane. That's the height of insanity. So, Every time I look at issues like the one we talked about today, it reminds me of the tremendous price that our people paid. You cannot sweep this under the rug. You cannot use words like woke, DICT, all these old stupid terms you use to try to degrade our women when you have built all of your wealth, not just on our people producing in the fields, okay? Not just with the inventions they stole, but literally in the body, just cutting our women open like hogs on a table and people coming around to observe. Yeah, brother. I wanted to put this energy out there, man, because we need to feel this energy because our people are still and thinking that, you know, things are going to get better when we make it better. And the way that that begins is like all other aspects of healing begin. It is that you bring out the pain and you look at the pain and it no longer has any power over you. But the other part of that is we pay homage to our sisters who paved the way like all other things, okay, which they have now denigrated to the state of twerking. No, we're going to let them know the sacrifices of our ancestors.
That's right.
To get to this point. And with that, brother, unless you have something you want to close with.
No, I'm just, we have to be acknowledged. We're not asking them, oh, please, right. We have to acknowledge all of this within our own circle. They're the ones who did this. They're not going to really say anything because it makes them look or reveal who they really are. But how the world has benefited from that. See what I mean? People talk about a Holocaust, and we well know what they say with this. The numbers don't even match with that other thing going on. But this thing is so multifaceted and specific with different things that it's like you keep pulling stuff up out of a box and seeing new. It's like, wait a second, when does this end? And the effects of it that last in us to this day, deep in our DNA. It's not just some surface thing. It's in our spirit, it's in our DNA. Sure. This is why we react sometimes in the ways that we react. And it really is tough to hold ourselves with emotional intelligence when things are coming at us and then we're fed up. A lot of times it's that thing coming out of us, because the trauma is passed down.
Oh, no question.
I just recently heard today of an unfortunate incident with a very close and dear friend of mine. Went into a rage, and I'm not going to make this long. I went to a rage. He's angry and bitter, but I know why. I grew up with him, and I know why. Okay. But this went on even more to the point where he tried to kill somebody that we both know.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's in a bad space.
Yeah, but things have been happening to him all of his life, and there's no excuse.
He's some still of the things, in New York?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll say it this way. Many who listen to some of the recent older uploads that I put of my friend, I'm not going to mention his name, who talks about prison a lot, it's him. It's really bad. But a lot has been done to him in the younger years. But in his bloodline, I know his bloodline good. We know each other from 71.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
the rage, the things that happened were very unfortunate. Because it killed him, unfortunate things, plus the bloodline thing. And he off. He had somebody within, inches of their life.
Wow.
We both know. So I'm going to be speaking on things like that. I'm not putting anybody's business out there, but it kind of broke my heart. It's very sad. Very sad. For more things than I could tell. This is why I hunker down even more. I'll see that and say, man, that could have been me. Not really, but it could have been something else.
Yeah.
And our inner circles and our friends and people we know, some of them start falling here, there. So that it makes you think in a way to be more secure and to be more fiery to make up for what they may not have done. It's like we're all like sperm trying to hit the egg, but some fall to the wayside, some swim the wrong
Yes.
way. And you
Mhm.
want to be that one, not to win anything for your attention, but I represent a whole neighborhood, a whole generation, a whole circle of. So I got to tell the righteous stories and take from those bad things sometime and convey it so that other people don't fall into certain things. But I see so much deeper in that.
Yeah.
And it makes my mind go like after the show is over, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna come back on. But like I can see more things, more perspectives, more. It's very important, especially while we're being attacked from so many different ways.
Mhm.
We have to remember the focus and what the goal is. It's like the mailman coming to deliver the mail, but the dog is biting him on the ankle. I'm still going to deliver that mail. I'm going to kick you off, but I'm going to do what I have to do regardless as to what's coming at me and around me to make my mind go off, set my emotions off. Don't forget what the mission is. You see what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
So not to
Exactly.
go off too much, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm
No.
still kind of
That's
hurt
cool, man.
by this. Like, you know, yeah.
So
It's life, you know.
well, yeah, brother,
Oh, yes,
I'm getting ready to go do a couple of
yes,
things. And
yes. Thank you,
again,
brother.
man, it's always good to be with you on Mondays, man, and the family. You know, it's I always say this, there's nothing better than a spiritual family. And,
Thank you so much, bro.
yeah, man. So I'll see you guys again. Hold on to the belts.
Okay. Yes.
And I'll see you again next week.
Thank you, brother. I'm going to come on live another hour or so. I'm going to rest a little bit, get my thoughts together, and just come back and freestyle. I got a little energy in me, so I'm good. Thank you, brother.
All right. Take care, brother.
Much love to you.
Much love,
all right.
brother. All right.
Thank you, everybody, for coming on in. And I got a few things I want to talk about, just ramble. Haven't done one of those like that in a while, live and just rambling. Don't even know where I'm going to go with it, but we're going to talk a little bit. And then tomorrow I'll be in all day and we'll get down and do what we have to do. But, you know, life can come at you so many different ways. And even if it's not you, if it's one of your comrades or one of your inner circle, and they may fall off, you know, and succumb to things that may be a flaw or makeup or weakness in their character. And for the moment they go off, and there's a lot of pressure out here. I want to just share some words to kind of negate that pressure that people feel. It's not scripted or be from the hip. And just much love to you all. Let me sign off now. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk. Much love.
you.